Big city car. This is what I called the Toyota Yaris of the previous generation. The previous generation was spacious, economical, and had a nicely designed interior. It drove well and made a great impression on me. And what of the newest, the fourth generation of Toyota Yaris? Definitely is, different. Hello from Auto Start Test and welcome to my review of all new Toyota Yaris. The new Toyota Yaris has a completely different style. It is designed completely differently compared to the previous generation. The only thing that bothers me is the front grille, which looks exactly like the one from Hyundai i10 offered for Asian markets. This time I will start with the amount of space. Despite the fact that the car does not measure 4 meters, we will find a lot of space inside. Steering wheel is adjustable in 2 directions. Above my head I have room for 5 fingers. Even when I raise the seat up, I have room for 1 finger, and a lot of space for legs. When I sit behind the driver of my height, I have no space for my legs, but the rear part of the front seat is soft, so I could travel a short distance in this way. Unfortunately, I do not have room above my head, but if the driver was shorter, it would be much better. Sitting down behind the shorter passenger, I have enough space. Also, taking a seat in the back seat is very comfortable. My wife is shorter than me, so she has plenty of space above her head and lots of legroom. But let's face it, the back seat is mainly for 2 people. The new Yaris, equipped with hybrid drive consisting of a 1.5 petrol engine and an electric engine, offers 114 horsepower, which is 14 horsepower more than the previous generation. Fuel consumption in this model is a bit different than in the previous generation. The new Yaris in town is more economical, and driving a few miles we can get a result of 60 miles per gallon. But driving using eco-driving techniques, we can easily get over 70 miles per gallon. Of course, it all depends on the driving style, weather, and road conditions. Outside of town, the car consumes more fuel than the previous generation, but this is the characteristic of 3-cylinder engines. My result for the whole day was almost 60 miles per gallon. It is the result of a mixed cycle without using eco-driving, and also outside the town I was driving very dynamically. Besides, the result is very good. Let's take a look at the interior. The interior of the new Yaris is pure minimalism, and most importantly, the piano black is kept to a minimum. The steering wheel is like a perfect woman, not too fat and not too skinny. It is pleasant to the touch, and the convexities about which I usually complain completely do not bother me. The digital clocks in the tubes remind me of those from the iGo model, but the graphics are completely different. Between the clocks, the onboard computer display, or the necessary information, the operation is very intuitive. Unfortunately, the door is made of hard plastic. Here, even the armrest is hard, so it's a car for tough guys. The hard armrest can be used as a shelf for a cup. At the bottom, there is also a pocket for a cup. Interestingly, this part of the dashboard is soft. Likewise, at this point, a completely illogical move, at least for me. On the central part, we have a touchscreen of the multimedia system. The most important thing is the image from the rear view camera. Despite the fact that it is not full HD, the appropriate contrast ensures excellent view. This is my first tested car in which I use only a rear view camera without using mirrors. Below the shelf for a phone, then the climate control panel. New Yaris offers only 1 USB socket and 12-volt socket, at least in this configuration. At the bottom we find 1 more shelf for a phone or small items. Here in other versions we will find an induction charger. In the middle tunnel we find the gear stick of the eCVT automatic transmission selection button for driving mode, auto hold, parking, traction deactivation, and EV mode. The armrest, which is not very soft, also the armrest covers access to one of the drinks. Under the armrest, something like a storage box, maybe for coins. In front of the passenger, we find an additional phone shelf and small storage compartment. Seats are very comfortable, the headrests are very large for such a small car, four-way adjustable, no horizontal adjustment, at least in this version. Sun visors without illumination, central backlights only with ordinary bulbs. On the back, the door is also made of hard plastic. At the bottom here is a place for a cup or a bottle. You will not find air vents, USB sockets, or additional lighting here, but this is a standard in the segment. But we have two hooks for clothes or whatever. Let's get back on the road. While driving in the town, inside the vehicle is very quiet. The combustion engine is started sporadically, and we suddenly needed more power. The car accelerates very smoothly. If we want to be very eco, we need to know that we will be moving on the road slower than other drivers. The situation is completely different when we leave the town. Driving at higher speed, the car accelerates very well, and the driving experience is amazing. Even driving at higher speeds on winding roads does not make any impression on this car. We have impression that the car is glued to the road. The steering is sensational. The car reacts to the slightest movement of the steering wheel. The active line assist gently corrects our mistakes only when approaching the left edge of the road. The system warns us acoustically without correction of the driving path, unless I have not noticed it. I have only reservations about soundproofing of the interior, especially the front wheel arches and the doors, but this is the fault of hard plastics. Besides, I rate the driving of the new Yaris very well. When driving outside of the town, we have impression that we are driving a sports car, and forget about economical driving, because what for? The suspension is stiff, which makes it easier to drive at higher speeds. The seats have very good lateral support. While driving in sharp turns, our body does not change position. We have the impression that our back is glued to the backrest. The brakes work great. There's no feeling of lagging due to the recovery of kinetic energy. The boot compartment has a capacity of 363 to 1930 liters. Under the floor, you will find a spare wheel. After folding the backrest, the capacity increases, but unfortunately there is no double floor, so we have a large threshold. I may be wrong, but I think Toyota will install an additional battery here, and in the future, new Yaris will be offered as a plug-in option. And an additional gadget, after closing the boot, we have a shelf for a cup. All in all, the new Yaris is a car with two faces. Economical, quiet in the town, and dynamic, even spotlights outside the town. Could you want to ask for something more? Yes, for a soft armrest in the door, but this is a car for tough guys, so it's what it is. And that's all for today. And what do you think of the new Toyota Yaris? Let me know in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, take care of yourself and your four wheels.